Hi, my name's Trinity. I'm an ex-participant with One Life Live It. Mark has asked me to come on here and talk a little about my experience with them and to kind of compare the two therapy options and to just, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I feel like it's really important to tell you a little bit about who I am as a person so that you can see if you resonate with how I sit, to see if One Life Live It works for you, because it definitely really worked for me. So I'm I'm a very energy oriented person. Spirituality, meditation, eating healthy, exercise is a massive part of my life. And when I met Mark, a lot of those things had faded away because I really wasn't in a good state. I was in quite an abusive relationship. I had BPD that was currently undiagnosed at that time. So my moods were up and down. I was very confused, very reactive. I was very suicidal, very depressed. I'd had a lot of traumatic experiences that I hadn't taken the time to really work through yet. So basically I was a mess, which is understandable considering I was looking for therapy. So that's, if you're someone that's energy oriented, or if you're someone who likes working towards a solution, I definitely think One Life Live It is for you. I think there's a very key difference between traditional therapy and One Life Live It is that with One Life Live It, they're solution oriented in the ways that they personalize their therapy for you, and they focus on creating really strong, healthy foundations underneath whatever surface triggers are happening at the time. So they don't just put a band-aid on the surface stuff. Sorry, they take the time to create strong core bases that will help you for the rest of your life. So it's long-term help, that's the one. Whereas with traditional therapy, I feel like they more focus on whatever's happening at that current state, and they just treat that, which is kind of like, I see it as putting a band-aid on the issue. And even then, that band-aid was, for me, infected a lot of the time. It just wasn't something that worked for me. They would just bring up an issue and they would focus on the problem a lot, and they would analyze the problem. And I don't like that idea of just feeding the energy of the problem all the time. I don't think that that's creating a better future. It's just regurgitating the past, and that's very unhealthy, I think. And especially because they would provide their sessions, they're time restricted, whereas with One Life Live It, they're not. And I think that's really important, because working through something, if you do bring something up and you're ready to work on that, there's no time to healing. And if you need 2 hours to work through that one issue so that you can continue your day safely, those boys would provide that without a doubt. And even outside of your assigned therapy times, if you needed help, they were there. Mark was always there for me. I definitely had moments where I would contact him because I'd had an episode and I needed stitches and I didn't want to go to hospital because I really don't like hospitals. I don't like the ambulance being called on me. Mark would respect that, and he would help me through that in and around his busy schedule, to make sure that I stayed safe. And I really, really respect and appreciate him for that. Some of the things that they would talk about and we would work through is Mark and we would have morning walks. He got me to have a couple of cold swims in the ocean, which was freezing, but so good for you. I was very resistant at the time, that poor man, but I did do that, and I now still do that to this day. So a lot of the things that they have helped me with, I now do on a regular basis. I meditate every morning and every night. I journal. I process emotions through journaling. I go for long walks. I take time for me. I look after me. And these are all little skills that I have learnt through those guys. I did have some of them beforehand, but I had completely lost touch with who I was. and they kind of helped me reconnect with who I was in a really gentle way. A lot of the work ended up not needing to be done with the boys because they just provided a really strong base for me, and they provided support that I didn't feel like I had anywhere else, and that was all I needed at that time. With One Life Live It, I find that whatever their client needs, they provide that. So for some people, maybe they do just need more encouragement for exercise and all that sort of stuff. Like if I wanted to go for a run with Mark, I could have gone for a run with Mark. It's support, their friendship. That's a major difference. Mark became a friend, and he was just like, hey, I'm here to help support you. Whereas with traditional therapy, for me, it felt more like I'm analyzing you and I'm going to categorize you into a box instead of, and then from that box, it's like I'm then going to have set procedures, set structure of things that I can do. And if it doesn't work for you, well then that sucks to be you, but I'm going to keep forcing you to try and fit that mold. Which just wasn't really great. It didn't feel supportive. It felt more like a school. There was an imbalance between the therapist and myself. There wasn't common ground. So if you're someone who feels like you want a gentle, nurturing approach where you do have more of a friend and someone you can trust, then One Life Live It is absolutely for you. Whatever you're going through, I really hope that you are able to come out on the other side. I have faith in you. I didn't think I would make it. I didn't understand or want to be alive for a really, really long time, and yet here I am, and I absolutely love who I am now, and I love my existence. I'm happy and I'm healed, and I have days where I'm not okay. Like I've got BPD. For those of you that don't know, that's borderline personality, and it's has one of the highest suicide rates. It's quite an aggressive mental illness. But I'm so much better now, and I think a core reason for that is because of One Life Live It. So I really hope that you give those boys a chance to help you and support you. And it may not feel like it in the moment sometimes. There were definitely days where I wasn't sure if working with Mark was really helping, just because of how far gone I was mentally. But because they worked on that base structure, once those top things had finally settled down and I wasn't being triggered so much because I got rid of my toxic environment, my toxic relationship and all that sort of stuff, and it started to filter down, so I wasn't such a high stress level, and I was able to come down to a regular base level. Because they had built that really strong structure for me, my life moving forward was guaranteed. It was guaranteed to be good. And that's exactly what has happened. So I really hope this video helps you, and I wish you all the best.